just doing a quick update. It's morning time and I went to my first Pilates class. Actually, it was like the intro class. Yeah, it went good. Learned like the bare basics of Pilates world. And it's gonna be really good for my core because evidently I don't engage my core whatsoever. And that's probably why I have some of the back issues that I've been having recently. So yeah, it was just like 30 minutes. It was very brief, but you got the bare basics. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do like 3 private lessons just to learn a technique. And yeah, because I don't want to like not do good or be struggling during a class, you know, my first class. So that's another thing that's really not in my budget right now, but I just think it's really important for me to kind of get my abs and stuff in shape and get my core strong. So, oh my God, what is on my eyebrow? I have hairspray on my eyebrows today. Great. Yeah, boy, look at that. All coming down. So anyway, that's what's happening. So they're gonna see if they can find someone to work with me on the weekends because I'm trying to pair it with going to my breathwork class and cold plunge because it's like right next door to it. So that's my goal. So we'll see. So it's like $240 or something. And then I'll see about like joining the classes and stuff. Next, yesterday I had a complete and total like meltdown. I didn't like completely break down and cry, but yesterday was not a good day for me, and it's all like stuff going on in like my career and not being 100% like in a good place right now, and I'm just not feeling it. There's a lot I could say about that, but right now I'm just not going to say a whole lot about all of the drama, at least the drama that I feel. I have to figure out what I can do to survive because I need to work, because I need to pay my bills. And I'm really trying hard not to complain, you know? And I'm sure it's easy for some people because they're like, oh, you know, it is what it is. And that's usually kind of like my thing that I always say, but it's also really hard. You know, I need some water for this. I'm doing my makeup on the fly because I was like, you know, I sweat a lot, especially during like workouts and stuff. I swear I used to not sweat so much when I was like younger, and now I feel like yucky and stinky. And I had onions last night, and because yesterday I was stressed out and I was like, I don't want to cook when I get home, I don't feel like it. And so I went and I got Chipotle, and you know I shouldn't be eating onions because my stomach usually doesn't do well with onions, and of course I got onions on my salad and they're really delicious, but I always end up with a stomach ache the next morning. And I feel like the onions, like I feel like it's coming through my pores. And I brushed my teeth and I had my water pick, I flossed last night, I did all that. I did it all again this morning, and I have my tongue scraper, which is like everything, and I still feel like I have onions like on my breath, and it's not fun. So anyways, so I'm getting ready to go to work, but I did want to mention just like a follow-up also to like the whole dating aspect and talking to guys online. So I've been talking to the same guy. This is the nice guy from Washington. So far so good. He got a little bit of kind of like my stressed out like text yesterday, and you know, I was just asking him some basic questions, and he was kind of like, you know, jokingly was like, oh, you know, you're kind of like you know, like interrogating me or asking like personal questions. Like there's just things that he's like, you know, like, oh, you know, once we like meet, I'll tell you a little bit more about my family, blah blah blah. And I was just like, was so frustrated yesterday. I was just like, you know what, bro, I was like, I just don't want to put up with this. So I'm driving home and I was like just gonna rip him a new one, and then I thought, you know what, I just need to tell him that I'm having a bad day, and that like, you know, could you do me a favor and just like be flexible and just kind of like lead the conversation right now. And I just kept it short, and I didn't go into like great detail, but I was just like, I just had a really hard day at work, and I just need you to just do this. And so, you know, he was nice about it, and he was just like, oh, you know, I didn't know, and all this stuff. So that was good. He also was nice enough to send me, I asked him, like, he told me it was snowing. So I was up in his area and I said, oh, that'd be so cool if you can send me a picture. And so he sent me a picture in the morning of all the beautiful snowy trees. So I thought that was very kind. But I don't really know a whole lot, and we exchanged numbers, but we haven't actually like had a phone call yet. And you know, I don't want to like really press anybody on it, because like everybody has their own timing, but I also don't want to be talking to somebody and texting someone forever. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I'm like, okay, like how long is like that supposed to go on for before I'm just kind of like, hey, like, you know, I really am over texting and I would prefer like to have a phone call. But like yesterday definitely was not the day, because I didn't leave work until like 7 o'clock last night. In the past couple of nights I haven't left until like 7. But just saying, like for me it's just easier to just get to know someone and to hear their voice. And I also think it's a little lazy for like guys not to call and just text, you know. I get it, like I'm an introvert, and sometimes it's easier just to kind of like chat with like via text and do it that way. But it's also a little lazy, and when you're getting to know someone, you have to like talk to them, you have to hear their voice and see their face to kind of figure out who they are. And for me it's important to kind of figure out like, okay, like are we gonna have the same issue as the last guy where, you know, he has no sense of humor and he has no flexibility, and it's just gonna end, or what? So I don't know. I don't like the fact of dating, because I always feel very unsure about like everything. I feel unsure about myself. I feel unsure about if the other person is like really truly interested, and I always have that kind of like uncomfortable feeling, and I don't like it. Like if somebody doesn't text you, like having that wondering feeling of like, oh, are they already over me already, you know? And maybe that's like my own stuff to deal with, but I just feel like I don't want to be pushing along relationships. I feel like I've always had to do that, and I don't want to do that anymore. I feel that in so many areas of my life. I feel that in friendships too, and I'm just like, I want somebody who wants to actually be with me and spend time with me and get to know me, and that's important to me, you know? So anyways, that's the whole thing. So checking in. It is, what day is it? I think it's Thursday. I don't know. Anyways, I just got done with work, and today I have been a hot mess. Okay, I went to bed early last night and I slept through 4 alarms. Like I turned them off, and I guess I was like, oh well, the next one's gonna wake me up. The next one's gonna wake me up. No, it didn't happen. It was a mess. So anyways, so I am just, like I mentioned, I'm finishing off my day and been very busy. So I'm gonna go work on my business now, because I have a month left. Today I am gonna do that. So I'm working on finalizing like my website to make it look cool, and I finally got it the way that it needs to look, and I just need to update the content. And I also am working on some freebies. I really need to work on that. And I'm also like fitness moments. I've been really struggling with my nutrition, and I went and I weighed myself this morning, and I'm 6 pounds heavier, probably more like 7 pounds heavier than I should be right now. And it's because I'm eating everything that I'm not supposed to be eating. Sugar, and like I've had fried food and french fries I shouldn't be eating, and like it's just been ridiculous. And then also in the end it ends up like costing me a ton of money, you know? So I can't even lie. I've just been horrible with my nutrition, and so I need to get back on it. So I told myself no sugar, and I can only have like protein and veggie, go back to protein and veggie, and try to stay away from processed food. I didn't do well yesterday at all with that. So today I'm doing much better. I had a salad. I didn't eat breakfast this morning. I think I had my super greens, and then I went to work on the stupid project I've been working on forever, and it's not even my project to do, but I did it. So I ended up going to grab a salad from a deli, and I really wanted a sandwich because their sandwiches are really good, but I said no because it had carbs. So I was like, okay, so I ended up getting like a Caesar salad. And I always put pepperoncinis on it, and pepperoncinis are not my thing. I just don't get it, but whatever. So I had that, so the rest of that for dinner. And then I think, what did I eat? Yeah, last night I literally had like these big chips for dinner, which is terrible. So I'm on this mission now to get back in shape. I need to make weigh-in, so I've been drinking a lot of water. And then I'm taking my 3 classes with Pilates. I had my I think I mentioned I had my 30 minutes of Pilates. This was like an intro class, and I have no core. Like, I have no core strength at all. Like, I just realized that it's going to be challenging because I just don't have the core strength. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to be working, and I have 3 sessions where I'm going to work with one of the instructors to like learn the techniques, so that I don't make a fool of myself when I get into the regular class. And I just really want to make sure that I do well with the technique so I get the most out of it. So that's costing me, it's not in the budget, it's costing me money I should not be spending, but I really feel like this is going to be very helpful and like really good for my body, you know? So I'm really excited about getting into Pilates, and then I'm going to do that for a couple months and see how my body responds. But I need to like clean up my diet so that my results actually really show. So that's what I'm at with that. And then, like, you know, dating, I'm still talking to the one guy, and you know, it's been slow, but I guess maybe things are supposed to be slow. I don't know, just slowly. We're still texting. So I don't know, I might ask him to call me and just be like, hey, I said I'm driving, like, if you have time, like, just call me. It's fine. But anyways, it's a beautiful sunset. That's why I got on here, because I was like, oh, it's so pretty. And yeah, so I'm just gonna work on that and just trying to keep the dream alive with like starting my coaching business. And I missed 2 sessions of Patty's group, so I probably need to really listen to like the sessions I missed. And I'm really like focusing on like my finances, and granted, I have I have some areas where I'm like kind of bleeding out money, but I'm like really thinking, I said I really want to invest in like the health and fitness. So like me taking like my cold plunge class isn't really that much per month if you think about it. It's more than like let's say like Planet Fitness, but it's like, but the Pilates is going to kill me with how much it's going to cost per month. But I'm hoping to cut in some other areas to make it work. So anyways, hey guys, happy Saturday. I'm just doing a dating check-in for today. And of course, per usual, I'm running late for class, but that's okay. I'm still gonna make it. So yeah, so dating check-in. So I am focused right now on one guy. I've been looking on other websites to see if there's like anybody that's like remotely would get my interest, and it really hasn't. So I am still talking to the guy from Washington. We had our first phone call yesterday, and it went really well. We ended up talking for about an hour, and yeah, I got to learn a little bit more about him. He was being a little mysterious about some things via text and email, but so I learned a little bit more about like what he does, and the company that he works for actually has offices in San Diego and California, which I just found out. So I thought that was great, and just a little bit more about his love for farming and like his family history with that. So yeah, so very good. And I think the one thing I was like worried about was like, you know, like you have this like impression of what people should sound like or what they sound like. And I'm always afraid I'm going to pick up the phone and the guy's going to have like a weird, like squeaky voice that's like very feminine. And no, that wasn't the case. He had a very like nice tone, which I enjoyed. And yeah, and he has a good laugh. So I was glad I was able to make him laugh a couple times. So, and it wasn't like a weird laugh. It was a good laugh. So yeah, we're just gonna keep talking and see what happens. I'm of course, like I'm still keeping my dating apps open. I'm still kind of looking around, but just over the past like few weeks, I haven't found anybody else that I want to talk to. And also my subscription was coming up for ending for Coffee Meets Bagels, and I have yet to find anybody who wants to talk to me on there. I had maybe like just a couple. I had one guy who was like trying to set up a date with me, and then he ghosted me. And I had somebody else I was kind of started talking to, and then they never reply back. It's just it's the most bizarre thing. I don't understand it. So I ended my membership for that. I'm going to keep the current membership that I'm on, and I will see if anybody else pops up on there that might be interesting. But yeah, so far far so good with this Washington guy. We have a lot to talk about and just kind of fill each other out. I said that ultimately, like, I'm just at the point in my life where I have to figure out, you know, like, do I want love or not? And, you know, am I going to have to make like a drastic change in my life in order for me to have that? So I think that's why I like really opened up my parameters for dating, because I just was not finding like guys here, particularly like eHarmony. That's the website I'm on right now. That's the one I haven't been able to find anybody remotely in my area at all. And the other guys that are up in like Orange and LA County weren't really like the type of person that I was looking for. So so yeah, so I'm basically back to the drawing boards. I don't know, I should probably check into like maybe a couple apps, because I just don't want to just settle on one person. I don't think that's wise, but I'm also not meeting very many guys either. So the one thing that I did learn is this guy legitimately lives on a farm out in the middle of nowhere. So which isn't like too bad. He says he's like only 20 minutes from work, so he's still within range of like, you know, a normal town, but still far away enough where he can have like, you know, he's on the family farm and stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool. And, you know, he warned me, he's like, my reception is really bad. And he's like, that's half the reason I haven't been able to call you. It's because my reception on the farm is very unreliable. So he ended up calling me from work, from like outside his job, and we ended up talking that way. So we'll have to figure that stuff out. But I think I'm just going to keep my accounts open and just see who else I can find out there that sparks my interest, who's willing to talk to me and not overreact and be overly like sensitive and just weird. And yeah, that's about it. I also wrote a blog that I hope will be posted this week. We'll see. But I wrote just some of my like tips and tricks for really just kind of protecting yourself, as like, I think even guys need to do this, honestly, because you hear about like these catfishing moments, and I'm just like, okay, sometimes you really have to do like background checking, and you know, you really kind of have to fact check. You can't just take someone's word for it. So if somebody says something like, oh, like for instance, you know, the Who the F Did I Marry series that's going viral, and the Risa Tisa girl, she's going to be on Tamron Hall. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. But I am like, it's because of reasons like that. And then you hear about the shows with like catfishing, and people have these relationships with people via text and email, and they never meet. And then when they do meet, they find out that the person's not even real. So for me, I was like, we need to get on a phone call as soon as we can, because I want to make sure that you actually sound like a dude, and that his pictures were like recent. And so the pictures that he had on his website were like taken within the past like I think it was in October, and I have some photos I put up from October as well. So yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, I wrote a whole blog about like, you know, just some tips and tricks and questions to ask. And honestly, it's just like intuition and things that I have had to discover on my own from falling on my face so many times in like the dating world. And so I just kind of put this little thing together. And then I'm also going to have like a freebie checklist on my website once I get that up and running and looking the way that I want, that people can download and just kind of do like a little check to make sure, okay, like, am I going over my head? Am I not asking enough questions? Does this line up? Did this, you know, basically, does this information line up? And what am I, you know, whatever paper trail I can find online. So for instance, like anybody can go online and find out about me and find certain things. They can find my social media accounts by like basic information. You know what I'm saying? So if I can't find a paper trail, and I literally can find a paper trail on just about anyone, and if I can't find a paper trail, that makes me question like if they're telling me the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, and I honestly think, and I've had friends tell me like, that's not fair, like you're looking at people prior to meeting them and letting them speak for themselves. And I'm like, if you've had some of my experiences with guys, you would definitely want to like fact check, so you don't waste your time like getting your heart like set on someone and then they're out dating a bunch of other people. So I'm not like that type of person that wants to be just a pool of like a bunch of girls that they're just kind of filtering through. I'm too old for that, basically. That's where I'm at in my life. I'm too old. So I'm looking for someone who's like really serious about finding the person that they want to be with and starting their family, and that is their main focus. and that we're very much in alignment on our values. And I really don't want to carbon copy myself. I think it's so funny when people find people in the world and they marry basically their twin that looks physically like them. I think that's so screwed up and weird. And so many people do it. It just cracks me up. Like, if you marry somebody who basically can look like your brother or sister, I think that's a little, like, you're a little messed up in your head. And to me, I think it's bizarre. I've always wanted somebody who was very different from myself, and I like myself, like, really well. Like, don't get me wrong, but I always wanted somebody who was very different, that would bring something different that I don't have into my life, and that I can learn from them, right? So I've always been like, always dated different people, different cultures, and people from different areas that I don't live, because I just think it's fascinating to learn about somebody else's culture and the way that they grew up. So anywho, that's just my short check-in before I go over to class. But yeah, I'm just gonna see what happens with this guy and see if we can get another call scheduled where we can, you know, sit down for like an hour and have a chat about life. But from I think one of my last videos, and I don't know if I posted that yet, maybe I'll post it with this video, but I was kind of complaining that I was like, he wasn't asking enough questions. Well, he ended up starting asking all of these really like highly like emotionally intelligent questions to be loved, and are you at a point in your life where you can receive love, and basically things about like childhood. And like, he explained why he asked that question. It had to do with some stuff in the past, and I was like in complete agreement of, you know, sometimes you'll date people and they have a lot of baggage, not saying that we all don't, but they haven't grown enough where they can receive love, and they'll reject love. So the love that you're trying to give them, they are rejecting you, and it's really painful. And I've definitely have gone through that, and it makes for a very miserable relationship where your needs aren't getting met. And so it's, you know, and also somebody who's not willing to work through it and be able to like communicate like what's going on or how they're feeling and be honest about their past. And so he asked me some really poignant questions the other night. I was really happy. And so I told him, I said, I've really loved your questions that you were asking. He said, you know, I don't know why I didn't think about this sooner. He goes, but they just kind of popped up in my head, and I just wanted to know your thoughts on that. So yeah, like, you know, just some of the deeper questions and not so much like surface level questions, you know, just about, you know, you want to find your person. So you want to make sure that, you know, that you're, you know, like your stuff that happened in your childhood, you know, how does that affect how you love in life? And, you know, I just thought it was a really good question to ask. And I really thought about it really hard. And we talked about like, you know, our parents and, you know, did we feel loved by our families and things like that. And so anyway, it was really interesting. And I just really enjoyed, you know, the questions that he threw out to me. So I guess I have to take that all back with me complaining. He just needed some time to think about it. Fitness check-in. I am on a cleanse right now because we have our fitness check-in coming up, and I have a week to get my weight back down. So I went and got something healthy, and I'm actually trying an acai bowl for the first time that I got from the Nectar Bar. And I was actually going to go to Jamba Juice today and just grab like, you know, like a Jamba Juice smoothie or something. But the Jamba Juice that used to be in this like shopping center is now a Nectar Bar. So I'm trying this for the first time, and I think it's so pretty. Like, they have all the cute little fruit, and then they put like a little granola in it. So yeah, it's beautiful, and it tastes pretty delicious. So this is what I'm going to be eating for like my breakfast, lunch today. And right now I'm about 5 pounds heavier than I should be. And most of it's because I got back on sugar. I started eating like a lot of like the sweets from Starbucks. I went on like a cookie binge. And so I know I can get my weight down in like the next week or so that I can make my like weigh in and hopefully see body fat change. So I'm drinking a gallon of water. I'm just going to just drink water, going completely lean, back protein, no sugar. And I'm trying to really stick away from my carbs. So that was another thing, is sugar and carbs. So I'm extra bloaty right now on my face and my body. So I'm going to be doing that. I might just get some juice and just kind of do like a juice cleanse as well. But yeah, I was like, I kept asking, when are we doing this check-in? When are we doing this check-in? Because I knew that I got on the scale and I was like, oh boy, all those cookies over the past month. So I'm off of that. So I'm going to work on just having my acai bowl and having a lot of fresh vegetables and protein and very little carbs for the next week or so. And I sat in a sauna for a little bit today. It was perfect. Nobody was there. It was awesome. I had sauna to myself for a while and it was nice. And I went and sat in a cold plunge for 10 minutes. I splashed water on my face 3 times. And so I'm hoping that will help a lot. Usually that helps to kind of trim me down and get all the toxins out. And yeah, so that's what I'll be doing the next couple of days. And then depending on how I feel, I'll probably go to the gym or go for a long walk. And yeah, so that's my check-in for today.